So we're going to start our last lesson of yoga for lower back discomfort, our mat yoga class. So remember, before you start any kind of yoga practice, check in with your doctor. Make sure that a yoga practice is something that will be good and beneficial for the body. Lifting up the shoulders, rolling them back and down. Starting to breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, as long as those passageways are clear. And when the shoulders feel good and relaxed, let's bring them down away from the ears, turning the palms of our hands to face forward, feeling each foot connecting firmly to the ground beneath us, engaging our abdominals, lifting up tall through the crown of our head. And I like to close my eyes during this beginning part of our practice, allowing myself to put aside the day that we've had and bringing ourselves to this present moment right here, right now. You might notice the sound of the birds surrounding us, the buzz of activity close by, and we feel this subtle buzz of energy just below the surface of the body. And as we bring our minds to this present moment right here, right now, we start to notice that our hearts are shining with gratitude. Grateful to be in this beautiful space. Grateful for this body and this breath that has carried us through our day and through this practice. We rise up to our tallest self as we stand here firmly connected to the earth beneath us. And we might imagine that we're drawing energy up from the earth's surface and allowing it to fill all parts of this physical body, giving ourselves a way to recharge. As we hear the sound of our healthy breathing, we remind ourselves to breathe throughout each pose, especially if a pose is challenging for us. Let's keep breathing rather than holding our breath. And let's always promise to listen to the body at all times, making little adjustments as needed. Let's take a couple more cleansing and centering breaths. And when we're ready, let's slowly open our eyes. Let's relax the hands and the arms and move on up toward the top of the mat here. We're going to start off with some flowing warrior ones tonight. So let's take our right foot and step as far back as is comfortable, squaring our hips to face forward. Let's inhale, lifting the arms overhead, and on the exhale, bring those hands in toward the hips. Inhaling, lifting arms up, gently straightening the front leg, then back to that bent knee. We're going to use some flowing warriors tonight to get these bodies warmed up before we get into our deeper stretches. Remember, if later on you're feeling like you're getting hot and sweaty, don't worry. Hot and sweaty muscles are much more flexible. So things that we want to be aware of though, if we are hot and sweaty, make sure you're feeling good. If you're starting to feel nauseous or dizzy, we definitely would like to ease back in that case. One more flowing warrior one. Now come on back to that bent knee. Let's pick up that right foot and step back into warrior two, like you're standing on a balance beam. Inhaling, arms overhead, then exhale back to warrior two. I like the flowing warrior poses because they are a good warming tool, but they're also wonderful hip openers too. Gently opening those hips up. One more flowing warrior two. Now let's step all the way up to the top of the mat. Inhaling both arms overhead, gently swan dive down to a forward fold. On the inhale, let's lift to monkey with a nice flat back. And on the exhale, down to forward fold. A little bend in the knees as we rise up tall, reverse swan dive. Swan dive down. Inhaling up to monkey. Exhaling, forward fold. Rising tall as you inhale. Exhaling down. Inhaling to monkey. Exhaling, forward fold, rising tall. A couple more times. Last time through. Now let's bring those arms down. Let's find those feet hips distance apart, and let's take our left foot back for warrior one, stepping as far back as we can with the whole left foot on the ground. Turning the hips to face forward, let's inhale, arms up, and then exhale back to that traditional warrior one. Another reason why I like the flowing warriors is they can be a good balance challenge for us. So really, lock those feet down onto the ground here. And when you're outside, the ground can be a little uneven. So that's going to give us some balance challenge too. One more breath here. Now come back to warrior one. Let's pick up that left foot and step back into warrior two. Reach those arms out long. Inhaling, arms up. Exhale, back to warrior two. A few more of these flowing warrior twos, always using our own pace, following our own breath throughout the practice. Last time through. Let's come back to warrior two, stepping all the way up to the top of the mat. This time let's forward fold with a swan dive here. And on the inhale, let's come right back up. So just some swan dive practice. Bend the knees as you swan dive down. Inhale with a little bend in the knees as you rise. Exhaling down. Inhale, rising up tall. A few more times. Last time, let's swan dive to our forward fold, holding it here. Take a moment to straighten the legs here as much as is comfortable for you. hearing the sound of our healthy breathing. Now let's step all the way back to downward dog. Reaching those heels back and down. Reaching those heels as close to the ground as we can manage with the hips up high. Let's start to pedal through the heels here. Alternating heel presses. Keeping those abdominals engaged, supporting the back as we're stretching out here. Now let's reach both heels back and down, taking 2 breaths here. Let's gently lower the knees to the mat, stacking up the body with the shoulders over the wrist and the hips over the knees. Remember, you can always use a fist here if you need to. Let's inhale, arching the back for cow, and on the exhale, curling up like a Halloween cat. Inhaling and exhaling. Now, cat and cow flow is one of those movements where we don't need to be super duper warmed up to do it. So if you're at home and you're thinking, Becky, what can I do just a couple minutes here and a couple minutes there, maybe right when I wake up or before I go to bed, cat and cow would be probably my #1 response. Wonderful way to stretch out through the back. One more cat pose. Now let's come back to a neutral position. Looking down at the ground, let's inhale. And on the exhale, let's bring the right knee in toward the nose. And on the inhale, let's press it up. So we exhale, nose to knee. Inhale, press that heel up. So notice we're rounding the spine as the knee comes in. We're arching the back as the heel goes up. So now we've turned our cat and cow into sunbird flow. A little extra hip opening bonus here, a little mobility work. One more time, nose to knee, and pressing that heel upward. Let's come back to all fours when you're ready. Let's inhale, engage the abdominals. On the exhale, bring the left knee in toward the nose. Inhale, press that left heel up. Exhale, nose to knee. Inhale, pressing up. One more time, pressing that heel upward. Let's come back to all fours. Reach those hips back toward the heels, coming into child's pose. Another wonderful way to stretch out through the back that doesn't need a lot of warm-up beforehand. Now from here, let's go ahead and shift all the way forward to a strong kneeling plank pose, engaging our abdominals, and then come all the way back into child's pose, Balasana. Inhaling forward, kneeling plank, exhaling back into child's pose. Now this time, let's go a little further. Let's inhale forward, keep your elbows close to your body and lower down with control. On the inhale, let's lift the heart away from the mat like a snake in the grass. And then lift the body back into your child's pose. Inhaling forward, kneeling plank. Exhaling as we lower down. Inhale, lift to cobra. Exhale, come all the way back. A few more times. Inhaling forward, lower down. Keep those elbows close to the body. Inhale, lift the chest for cobra. Exhale, come on back. 2 more times. One more time through. Coming all the way back to child's pose just for a couple breaths. Now let's shift forward into all fours. This time we're going to kickstand out the right leg on the diagonal. Point through the left toes. Lift up that left arm skyward for a kneeling side plank. Remember, if you're looking for more balance work, you can lift that left leg off the ground. Regardless of the option you're using for the legs, let's all engage the abdominals, strengthening those strong core muscles. Now let's gently rotate back to all fours. This time, kickstand out the left leg on the diagonal. Point through the right toes. Lift up the right arm. Choose your leg options. Now gently rotate back. Let's bring those hips back toward the heels. Maybe this time we're going to walk the hands over on the right diagonal for downward facing thunderbolt pose. Now let's walk the hands back to the center and over to the other side. Walking those hands back toward the center, let's lift our hips and curl the toes to the mat, pressing the heels back and down, coming into our downward dog. Now let's really be mindful here of engaging our abdominals so the back is always supported. Heels are reaching down as close to the ground as we can manage without discomfort. Remember, you can certainly bend the knees here if you'd like. Now let's come forward to a high plank or a kneeling plank. Lower down with control, lifting to cobra or upward dog. Then lift the whole body back for downward dog. And let's step up to our hands one at a time, rising tall as we inhale and exhale to a strong chair pose. Inhaling, arms up, swan diving to forward fold, stepping back for downward dog. Inhale to the plank of choice, lower with control, lift to cobra or upward dog, and lift the body back to downward dog. Moving up to the hands, rise up tall, and exhale to chair. Inhaling, arms up, swan diving down. Stepping back for downward dog. Move into the plank of choice Exhale as you lower. Lift to upward dog or cobra. Curl on back. Down dog. Step up to the hands. Rising and exhaling to chair. Now let's keep going, just following our breath. Let's use 2 more of these sun salutations, feeling this wonderful heat building in the body, saluting the sun's energy in the sky above us, and acknowledging that same wonderful energy and power inside of each one of us. All right, so now we're going to take our left arm and reach across the chest. Use the right arm to hug it in close for a half knot pose. Now let's relax that arm. Let's bring the other arm across, hugging it in close. Now let's relax your half knot. Take that right arm behind your back. Let's reach it across and maybe bind by holding on to the other arm. When we bind, it gives us a deeper stretch here in the shoulder. So if you're not looking for that, you don't have to bind at all. Or I could loosen up this elbow behind me and the shoulder range of motion if I'd like. So listen to the body here. It'll tell you what it wants to do. Now let's release that bind. Inhale that right arm straight up next to the ear. Bend that elbow. And let's try to reach down to the shoulders or as close to them as we can get. And then maybe we'll take that other hand and guide the elbow a little closer to the midline of the body. Remember, we want to keep the crown of the head lifted toward the sky. So we don't want to move the head out of the way just to get deeper into the pose. Stay lifted through the crown. Now let's relax one arm and then the other. Let's bring that left arm across the lower back. Check in with the shoulder. If you want a little more range of motion, then you can certainly bind by holding on to the opposite arm. elbow. Try to connect with the shoulders here or get closer to them. Maybe add that little guidance from the other hand. Now let's relax one arm and then the other. Now standing tall with our feet hips distance apart, let's inhale the left arm up, reach as high as you can, and then a nice side bend. Trying to lengthen the left side of the body here as much as we can. Think about pressing down through that left foot as that left hand is reaching as far as it'll reach. Now on the next inhale, lift, lift, lift with these trunk muscles. Exhale that arm down. Let's inhale the other arm up, reach high to elongate first, and then the side bend. Think about pressing that right foot down, reaching those right fingertips as far as they'll reach. Now when you're ready, lifting all the way up, let's relax that arm down and roll these shoulders back. Now let's inhale the left arm up to shoulder height. Find your focus at the tips of those fingers as we gently twist. Inhaling that arm back to the center and exhaling as we release. Inhaling the right arm up. Focusing on the fingertips, letting all stray thoughts fade away. Inhaling that arm up to a lateral raise. Exhale, gently twisting. Inhaling back to the center. Exhaling down. One more time on each side, a lateral raise with a gentle twist. Now let's step all the way up to the tops of our mats here. Preparing for warrior one, the feet are hips distance apart. So let's stand up tall. Let's take our right foot as far back as we can step with that whole right foot firmly planted on the ground. There's a good bend in the left knee and we turn the hips to face forward. I'm going to use prayer pose here, but you can use any hand options you like. Looking out into the distance with a soft gaze through the eyes. Now when we're ready, let's leave the left foot where it is. Carefully pick up that right foot, stepping back into warrior two. Keeping that good bend in the left knee, let's look out over the left middle finger. Notice the left toes face forward. The right foot is now parallel to the back of the mat. Warrior two. Now let's straighten the front knee gently. Reach forward like you're looking over the edge of a mountain, and let's come into triangle. Reaching that left hand down to rest gently on top of the leg or just inside of the leg, and rotate the shoulders back so that right arm is reaching high toward the sky and the chest is very open in triangle. Strong through the belly here, strong through those trunk muscles. 2 more breaths. Now when we rise, use those trunk muscles. Lift, 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 lift. Relax the arms and step up to the top of the mat. Let's inhale, arms overhead, bending through the knees as we forward fold. On the inhale, let's lift to monkey. Exhale, down to forward fold. Rising as we inhale. Now let's sit back into chair pose here. Inhaling, arms up. Swan diving down to forward fold. Inhaling up to monkey. Exhale, forward fold. Rising tall. 2 more times. Last time through. Adding that chair pose at the end. Now let's bring those arms all the way down. Finding our feet again at hips distance apart. Let's take the left foot back this time for warrior 1. Squaring our hips to face forward. Choosing any arm options you like. Now when we're ready, let's carefully pick up that left foot, stepping back into warrior 2, looking out over that right middle finger. Let's be mindful here to still engage the abdominals to help with our balance. Both arms reaching out to their longest length, looking out over the tip of our right middle finger. On the next inhale, lifting, lifting, lifting. Relax the arms and let's step all the way up to the top of the mat here. Let's roll these shoulders back and down. So we're going to do a little bit of balance work here with a standing lunge. So in a standing lunge, it's very similar to warrior 1, except we step so far back that we cannot put the whole back foot on the ground. So again, if you're on uneven ground, let's be mindful of that. Let's take our right foot and step back as far as you can, so only the toes are connecting. We still have that good bend in the front knee, hips face forward. Let's inhale, reaching the arms up long to the sky. And maybe we'll add a little bit of a crescent bend here, but only if it feels comfortable through the back. Engaging those abdominals for balance help. 3 more breaths. Now when you're ready, gently step all the way up to the top of the mat here. Bring both hands together at heart center. Feet hips distance apart. Let's inhale tall, engaging the abdominals. And on the exhale, let's start to twist toward the right side of our mat with a standing spinal twist. Now when we're twisting, we've got a lot of action happening in the trunk, which we should. That's where it should be. But also remember to relax through the face, the forehead, the eyes, the cheeks, and the mouth. Sometimes when we're working hard, we tend to bite down a little harder on our teeth because we're working hard. But let's relax there. Now when you're ready, gently, gently, gently unwind back to the center. Let's get ready for the standing lunge with the left foot stepping back as far as you can step. Remember, only the left toes here will be connected. The heel is away from the mat. We'll take those arms up high if it's comfortable to do so. Looking straight ahead into the distance, engaging those abdominal muscles. Maybe adding a little crescent bend here if you'd like. Remember, these are all options. Nothing is required except breathing and enjoying the practice. Now gently, let's come all the way back up to the top of the mat. Bring both hands together at heart center. This time we're twisting to the left. So let's inhale, engaging our abdominals. Exhale, twisting, twisting toward the other side of your mat. Ready, let's gently, gently unwind ourselves back to the center. Relax the arms. One more bonus balance pose for this evening. So we're going to do Warrior 3. So what we're going to do is take our right toes just slightly behind us. I like to start with hands on hips. Engage the abdominals. Let's inhale, lifting tall. And on the exhale, we start to hinge forward from the hips with a little bend in that supporting knee. You're welcome to keep the hands at the hips, or if you'd like, you can take them out to the side like airplane wings. For more of a balance challenge, you might reach them out long beyond the crown of your head. So remember, let's listen to the body at all times. Always ease back whenever you need to. 3 more breaths. Now gently, gently rise up. Shake out those legs a little bit. Let's get ready for the same on the other side. So this time I'm taking my left toes slightly behind me. Inhale, engaging the abdominals. Exhale whenever you're ready to hinge forward. Choose the arm options that you like best. When your warrior starts to go off in its own direction, Just try to rein it back in or take a break and start over. It's up to you. This is Warrior 3. Let's take 2 more breaths. And when you're ready, let's rise up tall. Shake out those warrior limbs. Okay, so now we're going to do a moon salutation. And I do have some blocks. If you want to use a block, you can. That's helpful if when you fold forward, you're not able to quite touch the ground, and that's okay. And on any given day, with our range of flexibility, we may need a block. So I've got some blocks. And if you're out and about in your house getting your props together, you can also use a strap later on. So I can either have my block up high if I don't want to reach down too far. If I want to go a little further, I might have it flat toward the ground. There's also a mid-level too. So the block can be pretty diverse in that way. So at one point, we're going to fold forward, and I just want to show you, you're going to look down at the floor, the grass, the block, whatever you're using, and there's 2 options. You can either just lift one mighty eagle wing of an arm on each side, or you can add a twist by twisting through the trunk, and that arm will naturally come up on its own. So just think about what you're looking for when you're doing this practice on any given day. So let's all start off with arms up, reaching for the sky in a nice star pose. Let's inhale. On the exhale, let's take a side bend. Inhale, lift, lift, lift with the trunk. And on the exhale, another side bend. Inhaling and rising. Exhale, hinge forward to the block or the ground. Inhale with an arm only or a twist. Exhale, back toward the ground. Other side, inhaling and exhaling. Now I'm going to bend one knee and come over to a lunge. And on the exhale, I'm going to go over to the other side. And on the inhale, we rise up to a star. Exhaling into side bend. Inhale, lifting. Exhale to the other side. Inhale as you lift. Exhale, hinging forward. Inhaling with an arm or a twist. Exhaling back. Other side, inhaling and exhaling. Let's take a lunge on the inhale. Come over to the other side as you exhale and lift back upright with an inhale. One more time, let's just follow the breath. Whenever we're finished, let's just bring those arms all the way back down and move right on up to the top of the mat. Let's take ourselves all the way down into a forward fold, bending at the knees as we fold. And you might straighten the legs here as much as is comfortable. So again, the yoga block can be helpful here. If I'm not able to quite reach the ground, but I want something to reach toward, I can just reach toward the block at different levels here. Straightening through the legs as much as is comfortable tonight. Relaxing through the head, the neck, the shoulders. Now if you do have the block in front of you, I'm going to suggest that we move it over to the side here. Let's step all the way back to a downward dog pose. The hips again are up high toward the sky. The feet are reaching down toward the ground, and we engage the abdominals. Let's inhale, lifting the right leg off the ground for three-legged dog. Bend that right knee. Let's open that right hip to the side, and then gently bring that bent knee down to the ground to where your bent knee is just inside of the right wrist. And let's start to walk those left toes back. And as we walk back, we feel that deep stretch through the hip of the bent leg. You can choose to stay lifted in our pigeon, or we might choose to fold forward, getting a little deeper into that hip opening stretch. It's always yogi's choice here. Now, pigeon is a wonderful pose that is going to stretch out those muscles of the hips and also of that lower back area that we're trying to bring a little TLC to. Now, if you're folded forward, let's walk ourselves back up. Let's all curl the left toes to the ground, kick the body up, and let's come on back into our downward dog. So the hips are up high, we engage the abdominals. This time we're gonna lift the left leg for three-legged dog. And if you're sliding around on your mat, just kind of play around with it. Engage the abdominals. Bend the left knee, open the left hip to the side, and when you're ready, bring that left knee under and rest it on the mat. And walk those right toes back as far as they want to go. Always listening to the body here. Decide if you want to stay lifted for pigeon or fold forward. Now when you're ready, if you're folded forward, let's walk on back. Now we're gonna curl the right toes to the ground, lift the body up again one more time for downward dog. Reach those hips up high, stretch out through the legs, and then lower the knees and find ourselves in child's pose. Reaching the hips back toward the heels. Now when you're ready, walk those hands back toward your bent knees. Let's bring our feet out from under us here. And if you have your yoga strap, you might want to grab onto it. We're going to do a cow face pose today. And cow face has an arm part that we've already practiced a little bit tonight. And it also has a leg part. But I always like to give the option of cross legs here if you'd like to use them. Another option would be butterfly legs, which also have a nice hip opener. But I will also show the cow face legs. So cow face legs, you're gonna take one knee and bend it and kind of point it straight out from your trunk here. And then my other bent knee, I'm gonna stack it right over. And as soon as you get into this position, you start to feel some love in the hip area here, and that's the opening part. Then we've got this behind the back magic that we can also use. So I want you to take your strap into your left hand and just let it unroll and just kind of put that strap behind you. I think I roped up some plants behind me on this one. So let's Lift that left arm skyward, sitting up tall, engage your abdominals, and then reach that hand down. So just like we did earlier with that bent elbow. Now I'm gonna bring my hand up from the south and I'm gonna walk it up the middle of the back. Now some people may be able to touch fingers. You may be able to hook fingers behind your back. And if you're not able to connect, that's why we have the strap. So hold on to your strap behind you, staying lifted through the chest, feeling all of that love happening through the hips here. Now, when we're listening to the body, we're listening especially to the hips here and the shoulders and the chest. We want to make sure things are feeling good and challenging, but without discomfort. So listen to the body, take breaks when you need to. Let's take 3 more breaths in cow face pose. Now when you're ready, relax your bottom arm down, relax the top arm. Now if you're using cross legs, I want you to cross them the other way. If you're using butterfly, you can leave the legs where they are. And if you're using cow face pose, we want to unwrap them and try them again the other way. So take that other knee down on the bottom, bend the other knee on top. Always trying to keep our practice as balanced as possible. This time I'm taking that strap into my right arm, reaching up high, engaging the abdominals. Let's bend at the elbow, reaching down toward the shoulders. Take your other arm up from the south, walk it up the middle of the back, bind with your strap or your fingertips. Nice and open in cow face pose. One more breath. Now relax the bottom arm, relax the top arm, lean back, relax those legs, and actually let's extend them long out in front of us. Now we're going to do a seated forward fold here. So there's a couple different options. You can just use your peace fingers to hook onto your big toes if you can reach them. You can rest your hands anywhere on the leg that are comfortable. You could even hold on to the outsides of your feet. If you're not able to reach that far, that's where your strap can come in handy. Put it around the middle of both feet and then hinge forward, and that can feel nice as well. So let's all inhale tall, engage the abdominals, and on the exhale, we're gonna start to hinge forward. If I'm not using a strap, I usually walk my hands down the legs. When we're in forward fold, we try to straighten the legs as much as is comfortable to stretch out those muscles. But this is also a very nice pose to use to stretch out the lower back as well. So think about your spinal alignment, the hips, the shoulders, the crown of your head, all in good alignment here, rather than rounding through the spine as best we can. Let's take 3 more breaths. Now when you're ready, let's lift the body back up from that hinge. Let's take that strap away if we're using it. Move all the way up toward the top of your mat here. I'm going to bend my knees here and engage the abdominals and slowly, slowly roll down one vertebrae at a time. And let's hug the knees in toward the chest, releasing the lower back. If you like to rock the knees or circle them here, you certainly can use that option. So earlier in our practice, we used a pigeon pose that gets really deep into the hips, and it is one of my favorites. But we're also going to use a bonus pigeon pose tonight to continue to stretch out the hips and the lower back. So what I'd like you to do is keep your left knee bent, but lower the left foot to the ground. And let's take that right foot and just rest it above the left knee. Now, we're going to lift the shoulders up just enough so we can see this window we've created with our legs. Reaching our right arm through the window, the left arm comes around the side of the left leg, and we lace the fingers behind the left thigh, and we bring those shoulders back down to the ground. This is called upside down pigeon. And the more that I pull that left leg toward me, the more of a hip stretch I'm going to get through my right hip. So this can be as deep or as gentle as you want it to be, and let's also be mindful to flex each foot, stretching out the muscles behind each leg. Now when you're ready, unlace those fingers, put that left foot down. Let's switch over to the other side. So now the right foot is on the ground, the left foot is above the right knee. When you're ready, lift up through the shoulders, reach through the window, lace the fingers behind the right leg, and lay it on back down. Now when we're ready, let's unlace the fingers, place the right foot down on the ground, the left foot as well, stationing those feet about hips distance apart. You might have to sneak a peek to see where they are. We're going to do our bridge pose tonight, so let's place the hands down on the mat, palms down, just beyond your hips. On the next inhale, let's start to lift and peel up, one vertebrae at a time away from the ground, lifting those hips skyward, feeling the shoulders connecting to the ground beneath us, breathing rather than holding our breath. Two more breaths in bridge. Now gently, gently lower down one vertebrae at a time. Walk those feet together so they're side by side. The knees are side by side. You might reach the arms out to the side like scarecrow arms. Let's engage the abdominals as we inhale. And on the exhale, gently, gently lower the knees together over to one side on the ground. Now when we're ready, let's engage the abdominals, lifting back toward the center. Keep the abdominals strong as we lower the knees over to the other side for our gentle spinal twist. Now let's engage the abdominals. Gently, gently lift them upright. And let's extend the legs out long to the ground for Savasana pose. Remember, you're welcome to keep the knees bent there if it's more comfortable for the back. You could also use butterfly legs as well